You've worked in powerhouses for a good part of your working career, and you were exposed to asbestos, and now you have mesothelioma. Hi, I'm Joe Williams. I'm a mesothelioma trial attorney in New York City, and I'd like to talk to you about the types of exposures to asbestos that workers in powerhouses had. I'd like to talk to you about a former client of mine who was a powerhouse worker who was in what's called the major maintenance gang at one of the utilities here in New York City. And his job entailed him going to every powerhouse in that particular utility's system. So he's a good client to talk about because his case involved all the exposures that a typical powerhouse worker would have. So he was able to testify in his case about exposure to asbestos on boilers. And having worked in powerhouses yourself, you know that the boilers in a powerhouse are giant. Some as tall as 10 stories, and just covered and filled with asbestos products, including asbestos block, asbestos cement, asbestos gaskets, asbestos refractory. And this particular former client of mine talked about asbestos pipe covering on the pipes throughout the powerhouses, as well as asbestos blankets on the turbines attached with wire to the exterior of the turbines. He talked about asbestos-containing flange gaskets used on almost every pipe in the entire powerhouse. He discussed asbestos coverings on various equipment, like pumps and other types of equipment. He talked about asbestos on valves. He talked about asbestos packing and gaskets used inside of various types of equipment. And these are many of the exposures to asbestos that powerhouse workers could have. But there are many more. And I'm sure you have many questions about the types of exposures to asbestos that a worker would have in a powerhouse. Well, we can answer your questions. I'm Joe Williams. I invite you to call our office at the number listed below, and we'll answer your questions. We represent mesothelioma victims every day, and we certainly would be there to answer your questions for you. Thank you for listening.